Truth be told, Chapter 1. When everything split, I don't remember the exact day, but I remember the shift. You ever walk into a room and feel the energy is really off before anyone says a word? That's what it was like being a kid in a house where the love had already left. At first, it was little things: quiet dinners, tight jaws, long silences. Then came the arguments. The kind you try to ignore from your bedroom with a pillow over your ears. But kids know, even when we don't have the language, we feel it in our bones something was breaking. Eventually, the decision was made. They were separating. And just like that, my whole world changed. From parents to grandparents, after the split, I ended up living with my grandparents for a while. That move came with its own mix of comfort and confusion. My grandparents were old school, strict but loving, in that way where I said so was a full explanation, and hugs came after chores were done. I loved them, but I felt displaced, like I was just passing through. I miss my mom, I miss my dad, I miss the version of my life that didn't exist anymore. No one sat me down and said, "Hey baby, this is hard, and I know it's hard for you." No one talked about feelings. You just went to school, did your homework, and learned how to swallow the ache. I got really good at pretending that I was okay. A different kind of normal. Eventually, I moved in with my dad. We ended up in a place they called the projects, which was just a pretty word for survival housing. Concrete walls, thin windows, neighbors whose lives sounded like ours through the paper thin walls. I don't remember being scared, but I remember being alert. Life there wasn't soft, but it was real. I learned how to make do. I learned how to see how meals were stretched, how to keep my head down when things got loud outside, how to find joy in the little things: music on the radio, making Kool-Aid with too much sugar, laughter in between the struggle. But even in the middle of all that, I kept wondering, why me? Why this? Why couldn't I just be a regular girl with a regular family? Trying to understand the pieces when your foundation gets shaken that young, you start to question everything. Who am I without both parents under one roof? What does love look like? Is it safe to trust? Is this how life's supposed to be? Nobody had answers, so I stopped asking out loud and just started observing. I studied people, I wrote notebooks, I created a little escape, worlds in the mind through music and stories. It was how I coped before I even knew what the word coping meant. What I didn't know back then was that those cracks in my childhood were going to shape everything I believed about love, home, and myself, and that healing would be less about fixing what broke and more about understanding what those breaks taught me. Looking back now that I'm older, I don't look at my childhood with anger. I look at it with understanding. My parents were just people trying to do the best they could with what they knew. But that doesn't mean it didn't affect me. It did, deeply. Divorce just doesn't split up a marriage. It split up my sense of what was safe, and it sent me on a journey I didn't sign up for, trying to put the pieces of myself together while still learning who I was. But even in the confusion, something inside me knew, you will make something out of this. You have to. A real life tool. What did I learn from the chaos? We don't always realize how much our childhood shaped us until we're grown and reacting to life like our younger self is still behind the wheel. But a gentle tool you can use. Just take a piece of paper and write it down. Think about one defining moment from your childhood, good or bad. Ask yourself, what did I feel? What did I believe about myself in that moment? And is that belief still driving me today? Do I want to keep it, change it, or let it go? I can't change what happened, but I can change what I do to carry forward. Stay tuned for chapter 2.